Hey guys, it's Chris Haskins with the realestateroundup.com. Once again, bringing you another flip tip, hopefully to enlighten your real estate investing career, bringing you positive and meaningful real estate investing information. We're not going to get into a lot of real estate agent stuff. This is not the video you're looking for. If you are a real estate agent and you want to get into investing, this is the channel that you need, but we're not going to get too deep into discussing how to be a real estate agent. We don't want you, I personally don't want you going out there representing buyers and sellers so they can go get paid. I want you to be the buyer and the seller so you can get paid. And before I get started, I always like to ask you, subscribe to my channel, guys. We're looking to get 10,000 subscribers in the next 30 days. We're doing phenomenal. Thank you for subscribing and liking the content. I really take time, hours and hours out of my days to deliver this content to you, and I hope you appreciate it. All right, today we're going to be talking about flip or flop. Let's break down the numbers. We're going to break down another deal. Somebody emailed me recently, Matt G, about a townhouse he was buying, and I always like to give you some philosophy or a nugget that will help open up your mind before I get to the real estate investing, because real estate is nothing but a mind game. It's just a game. And the more you practice at it, the better you get, like any game, basketball, football, soccer, hockey, what have you. But this new book I'm reading is called The Magic of Thinking Big. Now, it's a link down below. I'll make a few pennies if you buy it from me. Nothing big. The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. I don't even know how I got this book, actually. It just popped up when I bought my house that I live in. It probably came with 2,000 or 3,000 books. I think this is one of the ones that just happened to be in the living room when I bought the house. But I want to talk to you about one of the things he talks about is thinking big, the magic of thinking big. And he says, the bigger the person, the more apt he is to encourage you. The smaller the person, the more apt he is to preach to you. Now, I want to ask you, which one are you? Are you a big thinker, and do you monopolize people's listening? The big thinker or big people monopolize the listening of others, while the small thinker monopolizes the talking when they're interacting with people. So let me repeat that. Big people monopolize the listening when interacting with people, and small people monopolize the talking. Now, what does that mean? That hit really hard for me because in my travels, I meet so many people that want to get into the real estate business, and they got a lot of this, a lot of talking, but they very rarely do listening. And when I try to offer some nuggets, they're more or less overpowering me. So I just kind of listen to them. But he broke it down just to show you that the more you listen, big thinkers, so big people, he calls it, monopolize the listening. So I like when I'm hanging out with people smarter than me, that I do very frequently. A lot of people around the country that I interface with over the phone, I interact with them and I listen a lot. I ask questions and I just shut up. Just like in real estate, the best negotiator asks questions and he shuts up because he's got a big picture of where he wants to be, right? Are you monopolizing listening, or are you monopolizing the time to talk to others, get out, preach what's going on in your life? Just ask yourself that. Now, the bigger you think, the more you're going to listen. That's what David Schwartz is telling us, and I think that's very true. So just remember, the next time you interface with somebody, try to take some time to listen to what's going on with them. I promise you, the art of listening is a lost art form that us Americans have just completely lost. Husband to wife, father to son, father to daughter, friend to friend. All we want to do is talk. We very rarely want to just listen. So if you want to be a master negotiator, the art of listening, get that down. And the link below, you can also get my book, my negotiating, the real estate negotiating Bible, where I break down how to negotiate with sellers and how to be a good listener. All right, so that's enough of our philosophy for today. Let's get into this deal. Matt G. Hey, Chris, I'm going to be buying a townhouse in Newport News, Virginia. The purchase price is $40,000. Purchase price is going to be $40,000, and his ARV is going to be $75,000. What he calls it his sales price. He says he's got some people interested already at $75,000. This townhouse does have an HOA, a homeowners association, which is $30 a month. So can you please tell me if you would recommend to buy this deal or not? It needs $10,000 in renovation, and the cost of the money is about $400 a month. All right, that's not too bad, Matt G. Thanks for sending that in. All right, so we've got a townhouse. And before I get into the meat of our numbers, if you're buying a townhouse or a condo, just make sure you do your research on the strength and how healthy their homeowners association is. You can really get murdered if you've got too many renters in an association or too many people are delinquent in their HOA dues. So when you get that, they call it a homeowners packet or the HOA sales packet. When you get that packet, you can preview down there to see how many renters there are versus owners in an association and how many people are delinquent. The lenders are going to look at that and they're going to weigh that and base their lending decision on that. And I've seen homeowners associations be disqualified for certain loans. So just be very leery when you're going to buy a townhouse. I love townhouses. I own several, but I love townhouses and I recommend you. I flipped several in my career too. They're great money makers, but just do your research when you're getting into homeowners associations because they can be nightmares. They can cause you to change the color on your siding, change the color on your roof. If you got a crack in your window, they can make stuff real painful for you. If your grass gets too high, they can fine you. So just remember that stuff. Okay, Matt, purchase price $40,000. Your ARV is 75. So we've got 40, 50, 67. We've got $35 to work with, right? Now his renovation is going to be $10,000. That's I have to tell you, yes, it could be 10, but a house to me, what I've seen, a house that needs almost nothing is $10,000. So if it needs $10,000, basically you're telling me it only needs carpet and paint because that can add up to $10K real quick. Changing out light fixtures, changing out door fixtures, possibly some doors, paint carpet, maybe a sink here and there. But 10 grand is not a lot, ain't a lot, Matt. So be careful with that. If this is, I'm going to take these numbers as being the truth. Now, I explain to my coaching clients, when you have a transaction, you have to get in it and get out of it. You have to get in it and then get out. Think of those numbers on every real estate deal. This is our little box here is how we're getting in it. Now we're buying it for 40. Renovation is 10 and our buyer closing costs, that's how much it costs us to buy it. I'm just doing round numbers here. It could be more or less. It's 2 grand literally to buy it. You got closing costs, attorney's fees. I don't know what city you're in. And this is for a house that's only $75,000. If we're talking about $300,000-$400,000 house to buy, this closing cost could go up easy to $4,000 or $5,000 just to buy it, just to do business. All right, so off the top, going in it, we're at 40 plus 10 plus 2, we're at 52,000 off the top, right? 52K total. That is just to get started in this deal, all right? So our next thing we have to worry about is going to be our cost to sell. Cost to sell. What do I mean by that? If you watch my other video, I broke that down a little bit more detail. But every time we go into a transaction, we have to remember our cost to sell. What is that? Now, I'm glad you asked. Every time we do a deal, we are going to possibly or probably, I highly recommend you to list it with a realtor. So we as the owner have to pay the buyer's realtor, and that's going to be roughly 3%, which on this deal is $2,200. And I'm going to, when I break all this down, I'm going to round it down to 2,000. Just for simplicity's sake, it's going to be easier for me to break this down for you, but you can leave it correctly on your, if you're running these on your own too. All right, so buyer, we have to pay the buyer's realtor and we have to pay our realtor, right? Because we are listing it with a realtor when we go to sell it. So we've got 3% to the buyer, 3% to the selling realtor. So that's $4 grand off the top, off the top. Now we've got buyer closing costs. Now, a lot of people said, I remember when I did my home investors training, a lot of sellers think, well, I'm not going to be paying closing costs. Well, you're not paying closing costs for the buyer. You know, you can keep that mindset, but if you're in a normal market or an average market in the US, you will be paying for the buyer to buy your house. Let me repeat that. You have to literally help the buyer buy your house. And that's called the buyer's closing cost. Not here. We pay, this is our closing cost, but over here we are the seller, right? So we're paying the buyer's closing cost, which is another 3%, which I've seen it up to 6%, all right? So we're paying that buyer closing cost if we want to get out of this deal. If you don't want to, you can always stick to your guns and say, I'm not paying buyer's closing costs. But usually people that are buying a $75,000 house, Ronald Grant says they ain't got no money. They ain't got no money. So you need to try to help them get in so you can get out. All right, so we got about 1% seller's closing costs. Remember, we got in it, we're the buyer, we're getting out of it, we're the seller. We have to pay our closing costs too, right? We have to pay the title company. We have to pay them to do the title search and do the deed prep and do all the paperwork to put this thing together to get you out of it. And then we've got taxes and insurance. You gotta have insurance just in case the property burns down, right? You have to have insurance. And taxes, I mean, that's gonna be anywhere around the country. As long as the day you buy it, you pay taxes on it until the day you sell it, okay? So I just rounded down to $1,000 on that. And then we've got interest on the money. I'm being conservative here. I just said, Matt, maybe you've got $2,000 in interest, all right? We're gonna hold this thing for 4 or 5 months on an average. So I'm gonna make this thing round. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, $10,000. We got $10,000 for our cost to sell. So where does that put us at on your deal, Matt? You got 40 to buy it, 10 in renovation, 10 cost to sell. That's gonna be 60, and then you got 2,000 when you bought it. That's another. So you're in this deal for 62,000, and your ARV. Let me write right here. Your ARV was 75K. So you're in it for 62K. So what is that? 62, 72, 3, 4, 5. So you got about 13K left. You got $13,000 in profit on this deal here. If everything runs good, hopefully you'll sell it fast. This may bump up to 15, 16, possibly, or it could go down to 11 or 12. I think this is an okay deal. This isn't like a smoking, dripping a lot of meat on the bone, but if you're borrowing all the money, $75,000 to bring back 13K, personally, I would have to second guess it because I'm gonna take this 75 and go buy a bigger house personally. But to do 13K while you're doing other projects, I don't think it would be super bad. And it would probably get you used to kind of doing flips. All right. So I think this deal it's going to be an okay deal. Let's say that. I'm not going to tell you not to do it because you can it's easy money on this one. I mean, townhouses, you have very little exterior work to do. And if you're saying it only needs 10 grand, then you won't have to really be there manning the contractors and make sure things are getting done right every day, because it's really not a lot of, at 10 grand, you have no framing probably. You got no plumbing work, no sheetrock, none of that type of heavy duty lifting when it comes to renovation. So 13K, I say, flip or flop. I'll probably go ahead and flip this one, Matt. All right, if you have any questions about negotiating or private money, please shoot us an email at kriz1204@gmail.com. This is Chris Haskins bringing you another flip tip. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, guys. Just click below real quick. Takes about 3 seconds. And I will see you soon on our next flip tip. God bless you. Chris Haskins, over and out.